Welcome back to the channel. It's been about a year since the last upload, I believe, so quite a while. You know, a lot of things have changed. One thing hasn't: Adelaide's drivers. That's the topic of today. I've got myself a little cheat sheet. It's going to be mostly a freestyle video, but I'm going to cover these main topics. Getting started, we've got men and women drivers. Take a few seconds to think, who actually is a better driver? The male or the female? A lot of you would say the male driver, but that's actually not the case. There was a study done in, I believe it was Norway, that said that female drivers are actually more responsible drivers than men. I'm here to tell you that is fucking bullshit, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, women are actually pretty good drivers, but there is one specific demographic of women that are the fucking worst, okay? Those are middle-aged women aged from 40 to 60. They do not know how to drive for shit, okay? Now, the idea for this video actually came from earlier today. I was picking up my brother from school, right? And there was a minivan with some foreign lady about 40 or 50 driving a huge ass fucking minivan, one of those Toyotas. So anyway, there's a bus coming up and I need to merge into the right lane because obviously the left lane's taken up by the bus. This bitch is in my blind spot, right? So I put my indicator on, maybe a bit prematurely, about like 15 seconds early. You know, like let the synapses, you know, like fucking warm up in the head, right? So we get close to the bus and I start to, you know, merge in after my indicator being on for however fucking long. And she doesn't move. And when I do, she fucking honks at me. So I honk at her back. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. Almost every single negative encounter I've had on the road in Adelaide, women drivers. More specifically, middle-aged women drivers. Younger women are good drivers. I actually don't get it. It's like, you know, anyway, enough of that. On to the next one. P-platers. Now, there's a spectrum of P-platers. There's the P-platers that do not want to take risks. They travel, you know, like 50 in a 60, 40 in a 50. Then you've got the ones like Josh Carpet. You know, the brave ones who drive the Holden Commodores, the Ford Falcons, the Mitsubishi Lancers. They've got the balls on them and they endanger their passengers and themselves. It's pretty funny. One thing that's, you know, like for certain, you're not going to be stuck behind one. They're always going to be zooming off. You're never going to be, you know, having to tailgate someone. They'll be the ones tailgating you, actually. Bit of a nuisance, but, you know, we move forward. Now, another really popular, you know, branching off what I was just talking about, Holden Commodore drivers and Ford Falcon drivers. I feel like it's just common knowledge in Australia, not just Adelaide, Australia, that if you see someone driving a Holden Commodore or Ford Falcon, they're gonna, you know, take the big risks. So what people usually do, they usually move out the way for them, or they just, you know, keep on the freestyling's hard. Ford Falcon, Holden Commodore drivers, yeah, usually are the ones who are the most ballsy on the road. My dad, an owner of a Holden Commodore, when I feel like I need to get somewhere fast, I ditch the Subaru and I drive the Commodore, and I usually have no problems. When I'm no, I don't tailgate. When I'm being ballsy on the road, when I drop a gear and vroom, you know, people move out the lane. It's like a cheat code. Like in Australia, if you need to be somewhere, just get a Ford Falcon or a Holden Commodore. No one's ever going to bother you, right? Now on to the next part. Best drivers in Adelaide. Not just Adelaide, in general. I'll tell you the two types of best drivers, okay, that you'll ever encounter on the road. The first are women aged between 22 and 30. They are the best drivers. I don't know what it is. It's the peak of their brain development where they're not, you know, senile yet. And they've like, you know, they've got the intelligence, they've got the maturity, and they're just good drivers in general. I've never had a bad encounter with, like, you know, like another woman who's like, you know, my age or like a little bit older than me. Like, they're usually pretty good. But then you get onto the next best demographic of drivers in Adelaide, and that's 50 to 60-year-old businessmen. I'm talking about people like my dad, who's in his 50s. I tell you what, my dad's not the best driver. He is pretty confident. But I'm talking about, like, you know, like middle-aged men who have an office job in the city and they drive something like a Mercedes-Benz C-Class or like an Audi A4 or an A5, something like that, you know. They're usually pretty good, because they've been driving for so long and they've got the intelligence and also the maturity to, you know, not drive like a fucking arsehole. And, you know, like the middle-aged women who think they fucking own the road. I swear, almost every single encounter I've had is from a middle-aged woman. It's not even funny. Now, on to the next part. People who do under the limit. Okay, I understand if you're doing 55 in the 60, like, okay, like you don't have to do exactly the speed limit. You can do a bit over, you can do a bit under. I'm talking about people who go like 45 in the 60. Like, it's slow, but it's not slow enough to, you know, flash them or honk them like that. Like, you gotta just, you know, move on with it. But it's just so annoying, man. Like, I leave early, so I don't have to worry about speeding anywhere. But, like, it's just so fucking annoying. I'm stuck behind this Holland Craptiva going, like, 40, and I'm barely fucking staying within the lines. It's just ridiculous. And then this is probably going to be the most controversial part of the video, okay? So strap yourselves in. Unfortunately, my iPhone, being the age that it is running out of storage. Therefore, it cut my video off right in half. Anyway, back to where we were. Indian drivers and Asian drivers. This is literally a night and day spectrum. You've got Asian drivers who are the slowest, least likely to take risks. You're just going to be stuck behind them 24/7, and oftentimes they're the ones making the most mistakes. And then you've got the Indians who also make just as many mistakes, but it's because of how fucking, like, how they drive. They drive like they're in the homeland. They drive like there's no traffic lights and no rules. Like, I've seen videos on, like, Instagram Reels, and, like, most of the deaths that I've seen on Instagram Reels is on Indian roads, and, like, you can see how they drive, and they project that straight to this country and drive like they're still in fucking Bangladesh, or what is that? No, that's another country, I think. Oh, fuck, no, it's like 11 o'clock, my brain's not thinking, but you get the point. Indians just do not give a shit. They get from A to B no matter what, okay? By all means necessary. Whereas the Asians, look, I can kind of respect it, but they do make some dumb mistakes because half the time they're not even thinking. So, like, they'll be driving slow, they'll be, like, you know, missing indicators, they'll, like, you know, just barely be... I don't know what it is about both these people. Today, my encounter earlier today I was talking about, that was actually, I'm pretty sure it was an Indian lady. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to get into the race thing, but, you know, like, I feel like Adelaide's just, all Adelaide drivers are just equally shit, or they, you know, just, like, it doesn't, no one discriminates in Adelaide. Everyone's just as shit of a driver. And look, that pretty much concludes the video. Just wanted to put it out there, just to find out a story. So subscribe and maybe I'll make more videos.